Okay, so chainsaw maintenance and cross-cutting, 2-day course with 1-day assessment, independent assessment, often on the 3rd day. Would start off with a discussion in the workshop framed around some of the preparation that you need to consider before you start the machine. So that would be risk assessment and consideration of the main hazards, risks and controls. We would also talk about emergency planning, and that would link in with some ideas around the sort of first aid preparation that would be prudent. We'll talk about personal protective equipment, and we'll have some props such as these chainsaw protective trousers. We'll look at the materials and how they respond when they are in contact with the saw. We'll also talk about the machine safety features, and that will build familiarisation and hopefully confidence for you to move into your next session, which would be around the engine unit, the power unit maintenance. So looking at things like the air filter, the spark plug, the starter recoil system, and the fuel filters, oil filters, the cooling system, and so on. And then through the afternoon, we would then take a more detailed look at the chain, and we would hopefully end up understanding how it all works, what the components are that make up the chain, and then importantly how we can, after we've checked condition, maintain that chain through some sharpening that is in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. So that's pretty much what will happen on day 1 of that course. On day 2, we would then look at our on-site use of the saw, and that would start off with maybe thinking about safeguarding our site, signage, barriers, looking at a sensible fuel refueling point, protecting the environment, and creating some safe spaces to start some basic cross-cutting. So we would use a little logging bench such as this and some small diameter material to get people started. And the bench is great because it allows you to reference lots of aspects of the chainsaw use. So we would start off with our materials securely held in this truncator bench, which gives us an ergonomic height. It gives us material, it gives it security, and it allows us just to reference some of the basic techniques around cross-cutting. And we move on from this device once you've built some confidence to material that's perhaps a little bit bigger in diameter, that is maybe nearer the ground, and all of that would be developing confidence and skill around cross-cutting. And then we'd probably end up with some larger diameter material with more chance of getting that saw trapped. And so we'd be looking at tension and compression, as well as cuts, perhaps requiring a higher level of skill, bore cuts, reduction cuts that would allow you to deal with bigger diameter and more technical contexts. On day 2 of our 5-day combined chainsaw maintenance, cross-cutting and felling course, we'll head out maybe to a more remote barn on the estate, and we'll work through a whole load of cross-cutting scenarios, building confidence around use of the saw. But we'll quite quickly move on to some felling simulation. So I often talk about day 2 being a little bit like the Karate Kid with wax on, wax off, and we've kind of decided that isolating the build-up of tree felling skills and cuts away from a woodland is really the best way to deliver the course. So we'll start off on smaller diameter material. We clamp it in a triangular frame, and that idea didn't come from me. It's from my friend Chalky White, and so we basically changed the way we were delivering our felling courses. So what does it allow? I can separate you as students and move you, put you in a safe zone. You can have a supply of blank sections of increasing diameter, and you've probably been practicing your cross-cutting and building up your stock. And then we can look at multiple repetitions of our basic felling cuts. So we'll look at a standard fell. We might look at a split level. We'll look at a dog tooth. And so by the end of the day, you've worked up through your diameters, and you've probably ended up with maybe 50 or 60 different felling cuts all practiced, and hopefully all that's left is some sawdust some sink cut remnants, and then these blank sections here, 500 millimeters. And in true Scott Fraser training style, these don't go to waste. We'll take them home and we'll heat our house with them. So we've got plenty of cordwood, 3-meter lengths from previous felling courses, and we keep a stock of that here on the outside of the barn. So we'd start off with some, we start off marking this up at 500 millimeters. We do some cross cutting and you'd build up a stock. So once you've cut your blank sections, you would move them into your individual area. So here we've got a supply of unused felling blanks. So some of them are maybe a little bit uneven to use, but some of them are pretty high quality. So we'd be aiming to use something along the lines of this piece here. So you take that out and clamp it in your metal frame. You practice the cuts, we'd discuss them, you get some constructive feedback on how to improve, or if everything's going well, to continue in that manner. And then as you're finishing the session, we take those cut sections and we stack them up on this side of the barn. And then once this material is fully seasoned, we would then use it in our wood supply.